Hey, you, English learner. Do you often get confused when you have to make a choice between the present perfect simple and the present perfect continuous? If so, stick around because after the intro, I'm going to do my best to make it clear.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Hey guys, how's it going? Mr. Finn back once again to help you out with some English. And today I want to cover this question as far as the difference between the present perfect simple and the present perfect continuous and when to use either one. As an English teacher here in Brazil, I have noticed oftentimes students can get confused when deciding which one to use. Those of us who are natives to the language, we do this correctly automatically, right? It's just ingrained in us. It's very intuitive. I often explain to my students not to think so much, but to just have enough practice and contact with the language to trust your instincts. With this grammar video, as the others that I've made, I try to explain it so you could have some understanding. But I want you to trust your instincts more than worrying and overthinking things, okay? And this is why it's important to have as much contact with the language as possible, because oftentimes you will hear the mistake that you've made and hopefully correct it yourself. With that being said, let me get into the difference between the present perfect simple and the present perfect continuous. Now, I already have a video. If you haven't seen it yet on the present perfect simple, I'll put a card here. Check it out if you want some more details. I go through it pretty thoroughly. And I also have a video explaining or breaking down the difference between the present perfect simple and the past simple, because they both deal with the past and sometimes students get confused with that. So click on the card to check out that video. This one, I want to cover the continuous and the simple of the present perfect, because what's interesting is oftentimes either one can be used interchangeably, where it's the same, there's no difference between the two. This happens when we're talking about like work or living somewhere. So for example, I can say I have lived in Brazil for the last 12 years. That's perfectly correct. And I could say I have been living in Brazil for the last 12 years. And that's perfectly correct. Why? Well, the present perfect simple is when we're talking about past actions and we're not being specific on when they happen and they're relevant to the present. So the fact that I moved here 12 years ago and it's still relevant to the present, it fits. And the present perfect continuous talk about past actions that happened in the past, and they have continued until now. Do you understand? So I'm still living in Brazil. Now, one of the differences between the two is that the present perfect simple emphasizes a finished action, whereas the present perfect continuous gives this idea that this action that started in the past is still in progress. It's in the progressive. So in the future, when I move to America, when I move to the United States, I can only say I have lived in Brazil for 12 years or 13 years, for however long I lived in Brazil. The fact that I will no longer be living in Brazil, I cannot use the progressive or the past, the present perfect continuous, right? So now I'm referring to a finished action and more as the experience. Does that make sense? Another great example here, I'll put an illustration right here. As you can see, Kate, right? My friend Kate, her clothes are all painted. And you could say that she has been painting her bedroom. And you can see this other illustration where Kate has clean clothes on and her bedroom is now painted yellow. And she has painted her bedroom. What is the difference? So as you see, the present perfect continuous, it's emphasizing an action that started in the past and it's still happening. And the present perfect simple, it's talking about this action she started in the past, but is now completed. It's concluded. So the present perfect simple emphasizes a completed action, and the continuous gives this idea that the action that was started in the past is still continuing. Does that make sense? I'll give you another example showing how each one emphasizes a different thing. So my hands are filthy, right? I have been repairing my bike. Or my bike is okay now. I've repaired it. You see? So you see how one emphasizes something that's been in progress and the other one emphasizes a completed action. Another thing that I want you to understand between the two is that the present perfect continuous can only be used with action verbs, whereas the present perfect simple can only be used with non-action verbs. Well, in fact, you can use both non-action and action. And the times where it's an action verb, you got to really pay close attention because either one can be used, and more often a native English speaker will use the progressive, the present perfect continuous, right? Another thing is that even though it's present perfect continuous, the thing may not be happening now as it's continuous, but it just recently stopped. My friend Joe has been eating too much recently. He should eat less. So he's not eating a lot now, but as far as a continuous action recently in his life, he has been eating too much. Or someone has eaten all my chocolates. They're all gone. A completed action. And to give you a little more of an idea as far as action verbs will be used in the present perfect continuous, whereas non-action will be used in the present perfect simple, is when we're talking about how long, right? How long have you lived here? Oh, I've lived here for 10 years, or I've been living here for 10 years. Same thing. See, it's interchangeable. This is using the present perfect simple and continuous with the foreign sense. So when we're talking about this expressions of time and stuff, I want you to take in consideration that if something started in the past and is relevant to now, whether it be something like an action verb or non-action verb, we're going to most likely use the present perfect simple because it's not progressive until now, but it's relevant till now. Like, how long have you known each other? Oh, we've known each other for many years. How long have you had this job? Oh, I've had this job for 6 months or since the beginning of the year. Okay. So each one of those cases, they're non-action verbs, right? The verb to know is non-action, and the verb to have, as far as possession, is non-action. All right. And we're using it with those time expressions, since and for. Now, if you're talking about something that has been happening recently, so we're using this time expressions, not really foreign sense, which is okay, but kind of like all day or recently. And we're dealing with things that are repeated actions, present perfect continuous. And one last thing that I think it's important for you to understand, okay? When we're talking about how long something has happened, typically when it's particularly an action verb, we're going to use the present perfect continuous, right? How long have you been reading this book? My friend Lisa is writing emails. She has been writing emails all morning. My cousins over there, they have been playing tennis since 2 o'clock this afternoon. I'm learning Arabic, but I haven't been learning it for long. Okay, now let's compare that with the present perfect simple. We use the present perfect simple to talk about how much of something, how many of something, or how many times we've done something. So, how much of that book have you read? My friend Lisa is writing emails. She has sent many emails this morning. My cousins, they've played tennis 3 times this week. And I've been learning Arabic, but I haven't learned much yet. So, to give you that idea, the present perfect continuous is talking about how long I've been doing something or they've been doing something. It doesn't necessarily mean it's progressive until now, but recently, through a matter of time. And the present perfect simple is used more often with how much, how many, and how many times you have done something in your life, right? The fact that you're still alive, or whoever you're referring to is still alive, we use the present perfect simple. Until now, it's something that has been done more than once. Okay? Well, I hope I gave you some tips to help you understand and to make it clear. All right? I'm here doing my best to make you better, but only you can put in the effort and do it yourself. All right? So get out there and practice your English, and don't forget to be awesome. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, press that subscribe button and don't forget the notification bell so you're notified when I come out the new video. And until next time, I'm Mr. Finn, and I'll catch you later. Bam!
baby, yeah.
Hey, what's going on? Subscribe now. I don't understand the delay. And don't forget to check out more videos over here, and I'll see you on the next one.